Would it be fair to assume that Baby Snakes is, a traditional love story, a brittle Noel Coward comedy, none of the above?
It's a none of the above.
Is it? Yeah. Is there anything you can tell us about it that isn't...
that you can use on television?
That you could use here that won't spoil it for the...
Yeah, I'll tell you about it. It has animation, it has live musical performance, it has people talking, it has a rubber girl.
I think that's an essential ingredient in today's film.
Mm-hmm. It's a statement.
Yeah, I walk out of anything that doesn't have a rubber girl. Should we get some things focused or whatever? Some people have called you simply the forerunner of punk. Do you want to disavow that?
Yeah.
Or them?
I mean, don't blame it on me. You know, I never asked anybody to put safety pins in their face.
Yeah, well, who did? Why do people do that?
The story of punk. Mm-hmm. A guy in England, and it always has to do with some guy in England. A guy in England who had a boutique was smart enough to know that no musical trend has ever survived unless you could dress up to it.
Dress up to it?
That's right. All the important musical trends were accompanied by clothing trends to go along with music. So he was going to cut through right to the heart of the matter and forget about the music and start with the clothes. So he got some guys and stuck some safety pins in their face and put some funny clothes on them and say, here, take these instruments, you're now the Sex Pistols. And then went out and made a bunch of big contracts for them, and that's what I know about it.
But to you, that's not worth bothering with, I would think.
Well, I didn't have anything to do with that, so when people talk about punk, I always say, don't blame it on me.
Yeah.
New Wave is a different story, though, because there are bands who are doing things today that sound really interesting, and it's not just because of the way they're dressed. The punk was more like, screaming and ranting, I don't need you, and I hate you, and everything sucks, and stuff like that, but the lyrics to some of the new wave songs are more intriguing.
Who would you recommend in that field?
Well, I just bought an album by a group called The Slits.
Yeah.
And I also like Lena Lovitch. You know that? Ever heard anything by her?
No.
She has a very good song called Lucky Number. And there's another group called Jerry and the Holograms. There's this 45-year-old guy and his wife from Manchester, England.
She's the Holograms?
She plays a synthesizer, and I think he does all the voices. They have a single out. If you need any of this stuff, go to Bleecker Bob's. He's got it.
A little hard to get to if you're in Utah, but...
he takes mail orders.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about disco at this point? I never hear of your being in a disco.
You just weren't listening. I go there all the time.
Do you really?
I've been in discos around the world. I've made a very thorough sociological study of discos. I know from disco, believe me, and they're very uniform, surprisingly.
A certain similarity.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Disco fulfills a social function that, some people are saying, well, disco's going to go out, But as long as people want to get laid, there will be something like a disco, because that's the main social function of a discotheque. It's a place where people go to pick each other up and do stuff, And it's a real good excuse. And the other important thing about disco, bearing out what I said before about no popular musical trend surviving without some sort of clothing trend to go along with it, but disco is a place where you dress a certain way, to be part of that lifestyle. So it all fits together. You can act disco, you can have a disco outlook, and then spend your time and your money tweezing around in one of those places.
Let's confront the Jewish princess problem.
Right ahead.
This is a record that I think I have some of the lyrics. It was a little hard to find which ones to select. That won't get the whole problem started up again. But I think people might get the idea that from the first 4 lines are, I want a nasty little Jewish princess with long phony nails and a hairdo that rinses. A horny little Jewish princess with a garlic aroma that could level Tacoma. And then there's a great deal more here, but perhaps even holding it up.
Just wave it like that.
All right.
While the ADL incenses itself.
But the ADL, or Anti-Defamation League, came down on you, I believe.
I was their meat for one season. Yeah. Let me put it to you succinctly. I think that any ethnic group that maintains a public relations agency like the ADL, whose job it is to manufacture a uniform image of the whole ethnic group, I mean, that's crazy. You can't expect that people are going to buy that. You can't just swave over the image of the whole ethnic group.
So, it probably doesn't come as a surprise to you that some people were offended by that because there are such organizations that...
well, I think that particular...
be offended by...
That particular organization is probably one of the most vocal organizations of any ethnic PR group that's around. You know, but I just thought that it was uncalled for in my case.
Yeah. Do you run into that thing where people say, I'm a Catholic, so I can tell a Catholic joke, and is Zappa Jewish? If you were, then it would be better?
Well, that's what I thought when they first started complaining about it. But then I heard from some people who had other experiences with the ADL that they don't care. You know, apparently they pick on Jews, too.
How so?
I'd heard from a man who used to be the program director at KCET in Los Angeles, the educational station out there. And he had many confrontations with the ADL. And he knew of some instances where plays and things that they had run on the air there that had some Jewish content that didn't meet with the approval of the ADL, that the lady who wrote the play was having a lot of trouble with the ADL. So that's what I mean about trying to homogenize the image of an entire ethnic group. I mean, they're all different kinds of Jews. Since there's all different kinds of anything, you know, and to just hold up this, you know what it reminds me of is when you, a long time ago, you used to be able to go to the boardwalk, you know, and they got these flat things with people painted on them, and you stick your head through.
You could throw baseballs at them or have your picture taken.
Yeah, and have your picture taken as somebody in an ideal bathing suit, or, you know, the muscle man pose. I mean, that to me is what it seems like that they're trying to do.